Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, listeners and viewers now, wherever you may be in the world right now. This is the one, the only Hellblazer Biz with your host, as always, Chris Gordon. And my guest today, as you can see, is delightful lady, talented actress and social media addict, self-confessed, known for her roles in such shows as Horizon, which is coming out on it's filming its second series now, as well as upcoming Knights of the Damned, Escape from Cannibal Farm, and many, many more. So I introduce to you Kate Marie Davies.
Hello, thank you so much for having me on the show again, Chris. It's a
You're
pleasure to talk
welcome.
to
It
you.
is, yes. Must be nearly a year, I think, since we spoke first.
Pretty much, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, God, how time flies, eh?
yeah. I've enjoyed listening to your other podcasts in the meantime, though. So
Oh, thanks. It's nice to know someone listens.
even if it's just me on my own
Yeah.
sitting there every time, no, I really enjoy it. It's great.
Oh no, it's brilliant. It's yeah, it's nice to hear, former guests actually taking part and listening too.
Absolutely,
Yeah, and as I say, a lot of people know who you are anyway, because you are a, as I put in that introduction, a self-confessed social media addict.
absolutely. Me and Twitter are like that, man. We're like that. No, I do love. I love social media. It's a really cool way to kind of keep ahead of the industry in terms of kind of seeing what's going on, but also just to actually meet, network, greet, chat to people that are interested in projects, and yeah, including people like yourself, Chris. So I'm very
Cool.
grateful for it.
Yeah, you started some good stuff as well, haven't you? Like Show Reel Tuesday, is it? I've
It's Cheryl Share
Show
Day.
Reel Share Day, isn't it? Yeah, that's hit big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I love Cheryl Share Day. And for anyone who hasn't heard of it, it's just something that happened one day. I've got to be careful not to waffle now. I do tend to do that. Um, I'd just come up with a new show reel, and I used to actually be a little bit ashamed of sharing my work. I don't know why. We work our tails off all the
Yeah.
time to get these things done, and I was still a little bit afraid to actually put it out there because I think we're always a little bit afraid of feedback.
Mm.
And I finally came up with one that I was pretty pleased with at the time, and some of my close friends had enjoyed it. So I was just about to hit share on Twitter about a year or so ago.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, actually, what would take the edge off a little bit is if I shared mine, but kind of said, would anyone like to share theirs too? So it
Yeah.
didn't feel like I was just trying to grab a load of attention online. And I whacked it on the hashtag #ShowReelShareDay. And before you know it, it just went crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone started sharing my work. I shared their work. People started contributing, and Twitter users that I hadn't heard of were saying, "Oh wow, it's Show Real Share Day," and it kicked off. And long story short, on the day that happened, we got it trending
Hmm.
on Twitter. I tried it a second time, sometime later. It didn't do so well. I think there was a couple of things. Maybe I maybe picked the wrong day to do it. Or
Yeah.
I won't dwell on that. But the third time, at the start of this year, it just went crazy. I mean, actors were sharing their show reels all day, but I was getting private messages from United agents. You know, I had
Awesome.
some of the biggest agents and casting directors in the
Yeah.
world were watching everybody's show reels that day, and it just, you know, you can write a letter to some of these agents every day of the year, and
Hmm.
they'll never check your work out because they're incredibly busy people who
Yeah.
really represent, you know, phenomenal talent. But for that moment, they were like, "No, let's push the work aside. Let's have a coffee break. Let's watch someone discover talent, or what have you." And I loved it. It was such a buzz. And also, I think as a performer, you can get a lot from watching other people's show reels because
Hmm.
you know you can hear different advice and stuff about making the perfect show reel, but really you just need to sit and observe because you know the exact point when you watch someone's show reel when maybe you've switched off or you've seen enough
Yeah.
to know that they've nailed that particular type of character or what have you.
Hmm.
And that's when you have to think to yourself, when it comes to editing your next reel, that's the point when I need to move on. You know, keep
Yeah.
them keen, draw them in, but they can always improve. And I've had a lot of help from Chris Stone Films, who does a show reel service. He's brilliant at actively helping people with their show reels. There's Act for TV as well. They have an incredible Twitter account where they give tons of advice, and I just kind of absorbed it all. And I like to take that, and anything I kind of learn, I like to pay it forward, pass
Yeah.
it on to other actors. And so I'm working. I say working. It doesn't sound like work, but I do just work on building a bit of a Twitter following.
Yeah.
And my biggest intention with where I'm going with it currently is that when I hit the next show or share day, which is on January the 11th next year,
Hmm.
I'm hoping that this one will go huge. A bigger word, but massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Excellent, excellent. Well, you say it's not work, but it is work because I mean I know from trying to get my Twitter following, it takes a hell of a lot of time to build
Yeah,
build up a following and build up and like you say, tweeting out every day constantly. Just making sure you share everyone else's work as well, because that is important. That's something I really admire about you, is the fact that you do share and you promote other people very much so, as well as yourself, and that's it's quite rare, but it's a good thing to see.
Well, that's really kind of you to say. I mean, I have to give credit where it's due, mainly to, I know you spoke to Mark Samet the other
Yeah,
week.
lovely guy, Mark.
He's a lovely guy, and he's got a lot of time for people, and he's got a huge fan base, and he deserves to. But the main advice he gave me was to remember to basically throw your ego away. You're not collecting followers so that everyone can worship you. You're basically finding more people that have the same interests as you, so that when you talk about a project, they're keen. So I follow a lot of particularly horror and sci-fi fans, and people who enjoy things like The Walking Dead, because I know that that's kind of on the same mark that a lot of the projects that I work on here. So you can almost guarantee that they'll maybe follow you back, or just be interested in the stuff you're saying. And also, you know, where he was kind of going, where Mark was going when he advised us, is like, don't just have people talking to you. When you can, you know, respond and engage and give it back. And I promise I do try. I know there's probably a lot of people who do watch this who have maybe not always had a direct message back when they contact me and everything, but I am now trying to keep up with nearly 30,000 followers, so I'm trying to do what I can. And I say it's mainly because people have taken an interest in these things. We've got these shared interests. So again, it's not me collecting people for the sake of it. It's just trying to connect with people that I can share something with, that I actually feel that they're going to be interested in. So you know, it's a job, but it's great. It's interesting as well.
Well, it is. It's social media and marketing on social media is a fantastic thing. It's something I'm still learning, because as you might see if you do listen to my shows, you might see some of them just aren't seem to be getting the hits that they should be. So I've got to try and figure out. That's something I'm working as well with, the marketing of how to get it out there.
If I can offer you any help with that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That wasn't me begging. But yeah.
No, not remotely, but you know, I've been helped by people, and I feel like it would be nice of me to help you as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
we will. Off air, we'll be here for another 3 hours.
You'll have everyone there with their notepads taking.
Oh no, yeah, yeah. Excellent. So as you know, I mean, I've got loads of questions which have been sent in. My Twitter seemed to have gone mad as well when we reached out for people. So I'll try to just put them into an order of general and sort of regarding work and films. So Joanne Wong is asking one, which I would have asked anyways. What inspired you to become an actress?
That's great. I mean, firstly, a little hello to Joanne. She's amazing. She's a fantastic person that I engage with on social media. She always takes massive interest in the stuff that I've done. So she wanted to know why I took an interest in being an actress. I've actually come up with this quite a lot, which I've spoken about in a couple of interviews recently. I'm more than happy to share the fact that when I was a bit younger, say in my early teens, I used to be quite insecure and bullied, I guess. Yeah. And I used to find it hard. Now I'm going to start doing it now, but I used to find it hard to look in people's eyes when I spoke to them, because I was quite shy. And when I was about 18, I got into a college production of West Side Story. I hadn't really done much acting. I used to sing in a soul and gospel choir, but I hadn't done the acting before. Yeah. And I just kind of rocked up to this audition and thought I'd give it a go. And I landed a really cool part. It was a part of Anita. She's one of the kind of lead parts, but she's really ballsy and really feisty and really strong role. And I just kind of, I don't know, I fell in love with it a bit. It kind of sort of overtook my life a bit, really. I found something I was passionate about. And so I performed, and obviously that gave me confidence to do that in front of people, and obviously you kind of soak in all the applause and the feedback. But coincidentally, I was actually during that time studying A levels for art and design, English language and graphics, which was actually where I thought I was going to go. But coincidentally, I was a little bit stuck about where to go next, whether it be university or what have you. And when I went to see the careers advisor, she said, "I saw you in West Side Story." I was like, "Oh." She's like, "You're not thinking about doing more drama?" I was like, "I don't study drama." She's like, "You should study drama." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So I just took a completely different direction. Went to a different college, and in a nutshell, I learned performing arts, musical theatre, and drama over the course of about 5 years. Head over heels in love with it, and I've never looked back. As soon as I finished, I thankfully went on to do some professional work, and I honestly think it's one of the best things that could have ever happened to me. So that's why I got into it. Awesome,
that's really interesting to hear, and I think it probably relates to quite a lot of stuff. And here's one of my little anecdotes that is the fact that same with mine. You know, obviously I was bullied in school. Lots of people are, and I found an outlet through drama as well. which is, but I gave it, unlike you, I didn't pursue it. I stopped when I was 18 to follow a suitable career, according to my parents. Yeah. But yeah, it was a great outlet because you can throw away your inhibitions. It gives you confidence because by giving you the ability to go up and stand on stage in front of people and talk and just completely be a different person. It, you know, when you've got so much insecurity in yourself anyway, and I mean, at the time, I thought I looked like I do now, but I was skinny, if you know what I mean. But now I look like I thought I looked when I was 18 and 16. But it's one of the thanks. But it's one of those. But that's how it was, and that was the insecurities. But being that, it's all in the head. So being in that different environment and just being able to push out and express myself, and you know, like you have, and you've carried it on. I stopped, but I found it a great way to sort of give myself more confidence and to carry on in life. And obviously, when I went to university for 4 years, pantomime dame I ended up being at that point. I've been butt naked in a Royal Navy show. We did a sods opera, and we came on with ponchos down the front, and we sang "Sit on My Face," Monty Python, "Sit on My Face," and we didn't have barbershop, inappropriate song, but we had ponchos on the front, and obviously we had nothing underneath because the barbershop, that's how they did. And as we turned, we all sidled off in front of like 50 to 100 people, and just sidled off completely butt naked.
Take my hat off.
I was, and considering that I was going through so much insecurity about my size, my weight, and the way I looked, that was a huge moment. But it was the theatre aspect of it. I just forgot who I was because it was that kind of thing, and it's a great way for people to overcome things like that. I really do.
That's incredible. I mean, you more than overcame me. I say that's actually genuinely really impressive. Really throw yourself outside of your comfort zone like that, and I'm glad that you found it helpful as well. But you're absolutely right in when you said about sometimes it's nice to just kind of escape into these characters that you play as well. And I mean, that's one of the things I love so much is having the opportunity to play so many cool roles. And maybe it's a little bit of the fact that as I say, I was a little bit more insecure at some point in my life, but maybe that's why I enjoy playing such strong characters very often. Maybe I'm being the person that I wanted to be at some time in life. So,
possible.
Yeah, it's great.
Excellent. Joanne's also asking, what was your difficult task working on recent projects, or what was the most difficult task that you've had to have?
That's another really good question. I mean, well, firstly, I'd like to say I enjoy anything that's difficult because I think that by doing the stuff that's difficult, obviously you become a little bit better. I think the most challenging things where I've actually really had to properly learn something different would be I've done quite a few projects recently which involve some fight sequences, and although I kind of do a lot of like photos of posing with swords and guns and all that, I'm not really a trained fighter. I did martial art called Tang Sudo.
Oh god, yeah.
I did it about 6 years ago, not very long. It's kind of something I was interested in at the time. And I've done some stage combat, but I haven't got a vast amount of screen combat. Yeah. So turning up on a set, for example, Knights of the Damned, and in fact, a little bit of a spoiler, there's a little bit of this in Horizon Season 2 as well, but turning up on a set where, you know, everyone's ready to film you doing a fight sequence, and you might look the part, you know, you're armed and ready to rock, but to not really know that you're able to do these kind of fight sequences. And I'm working alongside people like Zara Pythian, who's an incredible
she isn't, she's fantastic.
You know, and I just don't want to stand out as being the person that can't do these things. So you know, obviously I was able to, and I hope and pray when you watch it, or you watch the trailer at least, which I've heard is fantastic, for Knights of the Damned, I won't look like I don't know what I'm doing, but I had to get on set, get in makeup, get in costume, and then they took the fight coordinators, they took me to the side and just spent all day teaching me how to fight with a sword, how to use, I think it's called a buckler shield, like a tiny little shield where you basically smash your opponent's weapon out the way and then you go in for the kill. So it's basically training to do the job minutes before actually going in front of the camera and doing it. So it was challenging, but it was really good. In terms of acting challenges, funnily enough for me, I feel that I can jump quite easily into really emotional stuff, really gritty stuff. I mean, I can kind of switch that on and off, thankfully, quite easily, but I'm actually more challenged when I do something that's a little bit different for me, such as comedy. I shot a comedy, my first comedy feature film I shot at the start of the year. It's called I Am the Prize. I haven't seen it yet. But I'd done comedy on stage for quite some time. It was the first time on camera, and I was just terrified that I'm not going to be very funny. But I've been told that actually the less you try and be funny, the funnier you are. So I'm hoping that's true, because they played her quite dry, a little bit David Brent-like. So I'm hoping that worked. But that was definitely a challenge for me.
Awesome, that'll be good to see.
Yeah,
I'm I'm sure it worked quite well as well. So we shall. When's that one coming out?
I'm pretty sure it's at the final phases of post-production. We just did a couple of little pickup shots for it a few weeks ago. I imagine it'll probably be out in the new year, and I think that they're aiming for festivals. I think Cannes Film Festival is the one.
All right, awesome.
I don't know if it's going to get DVD release, but obviously, I'll work it on social media. So I won't hear anymore. But,
excellent.
I'll let you know if it was funny as well.
All right, cool, brilliant. Well, we'll try and watch it and we'll judge for ourselves. Excellent. Alexandra Hansler's asking, who's your favourite character that you've played, and what changes would you like to see happen to you or them?
Well, Alexandra, who I know is Lexi, she's one of my closest friends, so thanks Lexi for sending them in. She's also a phenomenal actress, and she's absolutely stunning and a lovely human being. She has, as Lexi probably knows, but I'm going to reiterate anyway, I think one of my favourite characters that I've had the joy to play is Nicole from Horizon.
Okay.
And what I love the most about playing Nicole is because it's the only series that I've worked on so far as a kind of lead character.
Right.
So it's one of the only times where I've been given a character, and I get to take her in all these different situations, and I get to kind of evolve with her through a long period of time. Because we started shooting Horizon season 1 back in I think it was either the end of 2013 or very early in 2014. So I've had this character since then.
Yeah.
So now we're coming to the end of season 2. And I can't believe how much she's evolved. I love playing her, and I love the fact actually that when the very first scene she's in season 1, the audience are going to hate her. She's horrible.
Right.
But I love that about her. I love playing that kind of character, because I read the script. I was like, really, you'd say that?
Yeah.
But she just has this incredible character arc where she just, she changes. She realizes she has to be. It's not such much a nicer person. She just starts to care more about other people, and it's much more prevalent in season 2. Again, I'm not allowed to give too much away at all. But she's been an absolute pleasure to play, and I hope that when people watch season 2 that they'll agree, and I hope that they'll actually be rooting for the scenes as well. So.
Excellent. That sounds great. Nice progression of the character there as well.
Yes, it's great, thank you. Yeah.
Brilliant. She's also asking if you could write a different ending for a character you've played, who would you pick, and how would their ending change?
Right, I've got to be careful here because this is definitely going to make spoilers.
Yep.
I can't say specifically. I can just say that more times than I care to mention, I've been killed in things.
Right.
And obviously, if I could write it differently, I would not be killed. Because I'd like to come back and see
True.
But you know what? We have prequels these days.
Yeah.
Prequels, I can't be specific about that because there's no point in someone watching a film if they know what's going to happen to a character. So yeah.
No, that's fair enough. I haven't got a bleep button as well, so I can't just bleep out and censor.
Yeah. Kate, stop talking.
Yeah. You see me going like that.
Whoa.
Excellent. Another one is Richard Gustafson on Twitter as well. Yeah, he's asking what upcoming goodness will we see you in, my lady? Sorry, I had to. The way he wrote that was very
Thank you,
poetic.
That's lovely. Thank you for asking the question. So I'm guessing he wants to know what projects he can.
Yeah.
So let's go with I've got a couple of things that are already out there, but the things that I'd most like, I guess, for people to keep their eyes on would be Escape from Cannibal Farm, which is a feature horror film that's coming out. It should be coming out by summer next year.
Okay.
The main reason I would love people to watch out for that is because we worked so hard on it. We're really proud of it. I'm certain it's going to be good. I had a brilliant time shooting it, brilliant character to play, fantastic team of people. And it will definitely be out for people to watch. They can get hold of this film and they can enjoy it, hopefully.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I'm going to also say Nights of the Damned, because the guys have worked incredibly hard on that. And as I think it was Ross that likened it to a cross between The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. So
awesome, that was.
And of course, Horizon as well, which is already available to watch. Season 1 is available free of charge to watch. It's on www.horizonwebseries.com, and if people go straight to episode 11, it's the feature-length cut of the whole series. They don't even have to watch the individual.
Oh, right, excellent.
Episodes. They can just watch the feature-length version, which is something like an hour long.
Yeah.
Yeah, so those would be the main ones I say, but I will obviously have more things to recommend over time, but those are the ones that I'll go for now.
Excellent. And I know Knights of the Damned is a cracking one because I've had quite a few of the people say Mark and Ross and Ben as well himself. They've all been, and Andrea, obviously, she one of your fellow tribes people.
Katori ladies,
yeah. Yeah, that looks really a fantastic film. To be fair, I mean, speaking to everybody about it, and it's just every time I listen, it's like, oh yeah, this is brilliant. And you say Game of Thrones versus the Game of Thrones mixed with The Walking Dead as well. It's like I said, the two top shows of the world at the moment. Exactly. And how can you not love something like that? That's going to be brilliant.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I was sort of asked to be in it, and I saw like warrior woman sword fighting.
Oh yeah.
How many times can I say yeah? Yeah. We got on set, and just seeing everyone in their costumes in this medieval village.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty awe-inspiring. It's the closest thing to Game of Thrones I think I'm going to get anytime soon. So I was incredibly grateful.
Well, you never know when that comes out. People might obviously, carries on.
Yeah, I'll put it in my show reel and say, go on, get me in there.
Exactly. But yeah, no, I mean, you warrior women, mermaids, you just dragons. It's just
dragons.
Yeah. Can't beat them, can you?
Yeah,
Following on from that, then CJ Wilcox has asked, would like to know, in Knights of the Damned, were you able to choose your character of Isabelle and her weapon?
Great stuff. Thanks, CJ. Also, CJ is a lovely supporter of that particular film as well.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of the cast and crew involved. I wasn't able to choose the character. I was offered the role of Isabelle, but I think that the team knew that I had a bit of a liking for these strong warrior roles. In fact, I have to be honest, I'm pretty sure when I first applied for the casting, I may have asked to play the princess. Because I think she gets to do some pretty kick-ass stuff as well. But obviously, when they approached me and told me about playing a Katori warrior tribe lady, I was like, yes. So,
yeah, too right.
I didn't get to pick her, but she was one of 4 strong squad of tough women. I don't think I would have minded which of those women I was playing, to be honest. But Isabelle is pretty feisty, and I get to do a really cool scene with Mark Sammy.
Okay.
I can't wait for you to see it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, can't wait for that one then. I know from speaking to Andrew as well about the Katori women, and like you mentioned before, the training that you guys went into and the physical side of things, it's to get things right and to make it look right. It's going to be pretty cool.
The thing is, as well, I found a lot by occasionally posting the odd video or photo on social media. People are very quick to tell you if you don't hold, handle, or do anything with a weapon correctly.
Oh yes.
They'll tell you pretty quickly, so I wanted to get it nailed as much as I could.
Yeah.
Just to finish CJ's question, sorry, I didn't get to pick the weapon, but I think that the guys, they wanted very different types of style weapons for each warrior woman, just to really show the difference. So I think Isabelle's weapon, this sword and this buckler, as I say, she's smashing people out the way, she's hacking them through. I think it resonates with her character, really. She literally is just no holds barred. She'll just go in for the kill straight away, which makes her a really cool character to play. So
awesome. And to be fair, people really wouldn't know that that's the kind of character you like to play with if they do look at your photos or anything. The Lara Croft.
I'm not very subtle, am I?
I know. Everything's Lara Croft, so yeah. Not too bad. I know. Obviously, I won't go there in depth, but you've obviously learned how to use the bow before. But yeah, well, but that was for another era. So yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Bradley Taylor is asking, this is a different question, do you do commentaries or interviews or any of the films you've done? Like a Blu-ray extras type thing, I think you mean.
Yeah, I have actually done that a couple of times, actually. The first sort of proper feature film that I worked on that got DVD and Blu-ray release is a film called Beautiful People, which is actually a horror film, which was shot in Italy back in 2013. And once we'd wrapped the film, the guys they set up a room for us to answer questions and talk about how we actually felt about being involved in the project. I haven't seen that part yet, I have to say, so I don't know how that particularly came out.
Yeah,
it was certainly something they threw in. And when I worked on There's a film called Labyrinthia, but I think the DVD release is called Deadman Apocalypse.
Right.
And they put into that, they put the behind the scenes footage, or so I believe, and a lot of that was also Charlie, our director, gave us a separate camera, and when we weren't actually on, when we're just behind the scenes, he just let us take it away and talk to camera, a bit like the Blair Witch.
All right, cool, yeah.
That you've got kind of like on-set video blogging with the cast and crew, and I think he also included. Now, I'd normally be embarrassed about this, but I watched it back and it wasn't too bad. But he included my audition video. He wanted to show me why he gave me the part. And I was watching it, like scrutinizing it. Like, oh God, everyone see this. But, But so occasionally we do. The features behind the scenes. Oh, in fact, with Horizon as well. When they launched, when the episodes actually aired each night for the show. They put an episode on, and then about half an hour later, they put the behind the scenes that match that episode.
All right, okay, that's really good. Yeah.
So when people watch it on the website as well, they can go episode behind the scenes.
If
they're interested in how the show was made.
All right, excellent. There's another one. Is it The Walking Dead does something similar as well? But they don't do it. They don't do it straight after. They do another talk show, I think, and it's a couple of days later.
I think it's such a good idea.
It's brilliant.
I mean, I as I said, I adore being on a film set. So watching other people working behind the scenes, it really inspires me actually, because one thing I've learned in a fantastic way as an actor is every film set is different, but every film set also has certain things that make it very similar. So sometimes you can feel very, you might be on a small indie film working with like one director and a camera one day, and then you might walk onto a bigger set like Nights of the Damned, and normally you'd be a little bit terrified, but I think once you start to realize that actually it's the same game, it's the same job, it just takes some of the fear away. So watching a lot of these behind the scenes sort of motivates me to realize that, but also it makes me feel that things are a little bit more attainable as well. I'll look at behind the scenes of Game of Thrones, for example, and I think, I could picture this as being my job. I don't see it as a sort of like crazy thing that's really out there. I'm like, that's a job and I can do that. So it's quite nice to watch these kind of things. Fantastic.
I've got to say as well, here goes another little anecdote. I did my first filming back in September. I filmed for my first role, and it was great to see behind the scenes, because I was initially told, come for 10 o'clock, you'll be needed for about an hour. I was like, spot on, that's great. It's obviously it was a non-paid role. It was it was just because it was my first ever role. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I want to come on. I want to get the screen time, and I had about 15 lines, so I was like, yes, I've got all that. The character was like you said, a very dark character. In the UK at the moment, there's quite a prolific FA case going on. I'll just say my character was that way inclined, and it was, and for a first time to act something and find that was my character was difficult, because it's something that's totally not who I am, which is what most of the roles are when you're playing acting. And it was that it was good to meaty role to get into to figure that out. But the 1 hour that I was needed was at about 4 o'clock. And then it carried on, and I ended up being there till about 10 o'clock at night, and that was only when we got thrown out by the on-site people. But it was fantastic. The 12-hour day was great, because we actually got to, like you said, back behind the scenes. It was something that, as someone for myself, obviously, because I sit normally in front of the TV screen and watch, to actually be involved and seeing the different things that do go on. It was it was an independent film, so one camera, one director, one sound crew. But it was fascinating just seeing how things were set up, how certain angles had to become, how one scene could actually be filmed 35 times from different angles, and to
sometimes if you're lucky, it's only that many.
yeah, true. But just to get all the angle shots that you see, like you suddenly see a close up and things like that. The amount of dedication and the amount of work that actually goes in, even just for a 2-minute scene, is fascinating when you actually sit behind it and realise it.
Very much so. It's I mean, that's part of I think that's part of what's pulled me more into working in film rather than theatre, which I used to do a lot more of. Is exactly that. Is I love observing everybody's roles within that film production, and I love seeing the whole process from just the original idea to reading of the script, to doing a table read with the other cast, to the whole process, and then finally getting that release when it comes out is such an incredible thing. But another thing that I found fascinating about being on set the first couple of times, and what I learned a lot from as an actor, is how different the performance is of an actor on screen than on the stage, and how small and subtle and quiet. You know, you almost don't know if they've started recording yet. Then you
Yeah.
realise they're actually just delivering this fantastic performance. But it's, you know, on screen it sucks the viewer into what they're doing. They don't have to like put it out there. And yeah, it's still just it's magical, and it's something really enjoyable to absorb. But you can, you know, there's so many now YouTube videos of behind the scenes of all these different shows, and it's so funny how you pictured it to look when it's being shot compared to how it ended.
Oh God, yeah.
Especially something that has a ton of green screen, you know. Like, that was the dragon. Okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly. You know, you film. It's the same with like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. You know, they like you say green screen. All they're doing is filming in front of a green wall, and then behind him on the actual film, they've got like thousands of stormtroopers or thousands of orcs. It must. It is. It's just a fascinating project, and the difference between theatre, like you say, is great because. You know, theatre, it's very much, it's like, I'm Shakespearean. Yeah, exactly. We go yonder.
Green screen, I've worked with on quite a few projects.
Right.
It's not fun, I have to say. And, it just feels awkward a lot of the time. You're like, I'm looking at what? Okay. You know, like, they're like, yeah, we got the shot now. You're like, okay, and then you watch it back and you realise you've just witnessed like a whole building getting obliterated by UFOs. You're like, oh right, that's what I was looking at. Okay, cool.
I guess I was gonna say, I guess that can be quite hard to put into context. There's really imagination you've got. You've got to like go back to your childhood imagination, haven't you, about what you're picturing and what you're seeing. And
well, exactly that. You've nailed it. I mean, that in my opinion is acting. Is pretty much going back to when you're a child and it's playtime and you're going right to the next hour during this playtime. I have a pet dragon and I'm going to fly it around the playground, and at the time you're not questioning anything, you just believe it, you see it, you feel it, you go with it, and that's pretty much like a child version of acting. It's just being able to use your imagination and keep it there, really. So
that's a fantastic quote. I'm gonna have to find that and just keep that.
Yeah, you're gonna have to write that down.
I know, yeah. I'll scour it now later on and find right. Yeah, that's a brilliant analysis of acting there. William Scott Hill, what are your dreams with? What is your dream with hopes of coming true?
Okay, well, thank you, William. My dreams, they change all the time because I don't think anything should become stagnant. And sometimes I really want a certain TV show. You know, I won't go off on one, but I'm quite a believer in the law of attraction and about how if you really want something and you believe that it's already part of your life, that you actually get a bit closer to it and maybe it will come to you. Again, but I won't go off on it. But I pretty much almost write like a shopping list at the start of the year about what I want to achieve, what I'd like to be in. And even if I don't always get that, I usually find that actually I've got pretty damn close. Yeah. So it's definitely a dream of mine to have a role in television. I think that working on Horizon has given me a very good trial run of how that feels. I would love to have a character that, again, like with Nicole in Horizon, I play this character and they go through different things and I get to turn them into like a three-dimensional character who isn't always the same. You know, they bring in a lot of things that happen to them and it evolves them and they become interesting. And so working on television is something I'd love, and plus obviously, you know, it's the stability of having a paid acting job that carries on for however long your contract goes, and obviously with television it can be quite a bit longer than working in indie film. But I don't want to say realistically, because if I say that implies that my last one wasn't realistic. But I guess kind of a little bit more on track. Actually, I'm kind of enjoying playing the industry by working my way up the independent film scale, and some of the projects that I've got lined up definitely tick that box. Excellent. So that's I'm kind of achieving the dream that I want at the moment. It's why I'm so happy.
Well, no, that's great. I mean, you know, that's something that you've got to live your dreams, and you know, to follow them in that respect and follow them in that way is brilliant. You know, you don't have to. I mean, I think the one thing I get when I talk to everyone, acting-wise, is the work. You know, 98%. I'll say 90. I'm just making up. 99.9% statistics are made up on the spot. Yes, there's a huge amount of actors who are out of work a long time, and it's a hard business to be in. So to be able to go through and have the films, because the films are coming out which you've got are really good, and Horizon's good. It's a great, nice web series as well. Hopefully those things will pick up, and to be able to do those things with, you're living your dreams, and they're getting out there, and your name's out there. Look at your 30,000 followers on Twitter.
I think half the time they don't even know why they're following me.
I've got 2,100, and I think pretty much 2,099 probably the same way.
It's a mad thing, but yeah, no, that's so kind of you to say. I mean, it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really grateful for any support that I have, because it's particularly not easy financially.
Yeah.
I've just had to kind of accept that at the moment, at this time in my life, that my priority is to keep pushing to get some work made, so that maybe at some point it will pay back in the way that I want it to.
Yeah.
But I guess my biggest, I told myself I wasn't going to give advice to people because this always goes wrong.
That's the next question anyway.
Okay, well, I'm going to bring into the next question is, do I have any advice for people that want to...
Yeah, Jez Tallock was asking, what advice could you give people who are just getting into acting?
Okay, with pleasure. Exactly as you said, Chris, is just to go out there and chase your dreams and believe in things that you want to do. But I think it's to do almost kind of two contrasting things, is aim high, believe you can and will get exactly what you want, but absolutely most important part that leads up to that is don't forget to live and enjoy the process that gets you there, because every single day on set, whether it's a good or bad day, is all part of your life experience towards that. And when you look back, you don't want, I honestly wouldn't want to wake up tomorrow with overnight success. I want to live the story that takes me there, and I think you've just got to enjoy it, and just don't be afraid to keep learning. Learn from the people that you work with, learn from the people that maybe are getting the career that you want. This is why I when people like Mark Zamek gives up his time to me and he offers me advice on what works for him, it's not the same as another actor, but it works for him, and I'll take from that. He'll share it with me and I'll take from that. So don't be afraid to learn and do pursue things. And what I can say, the main thing, please don't ever give up, because giving up is literally quashing it. It's just writing it off and it's gone. And nobody else is going to drag you back out of that and go, what are you doing? You didn't live a happy life because you didn't pursue your dreams. You've got one shot at it, and it's worth the risk. So
fantastic. That is great advice. Great advice indeed. And again, anecdote. It's, I can relate that to what I'm doing with this show. It's something that I've... it's a struggle. It is a struggle. A lot of people don't see that, because just like acting, you see the finished product. And I still don't like my finished product. It's got some tweaking. It's got some work to do. But obviously, I appreciate that. People do like it. But it's for every one guest like yourself. There might be, like in an acting role, there's 100 who don't respond or say no, or like you mentioned at the very beginning, agents, they're so busy. If I get put into a publicist, I'll usually know that I'm never going to get an answer from them, because it's even if I phone up, and so it is a very difficult thing. And if you don't, it's all about passion. Ross, I think, as well mentioned that, the biggest one, and it's something exhibit daily, I'd say, is the passion for it, and you can see that with all your showreel share days and things like that. It's the passion. You've got to have a passion to be able to do this, because it is a hard industry. I'm only touching on the outside of it doing this interviewing lark, but it is a very...
You've got a pretty good insight. You've met, you've interacted and everything with so many like professionals and everything, and obviously you've had an experience as well. I think you've got really good knowledge of how things work, actually.
Yeah, probably thinking about it, probably sure, because I get tidbits from everyone I speak to, so it's like my head's filling with all this information.
Yeah, that's how we learn, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, the day you stop learning is the day you end up dead. That's what I see.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool. Sadly, I've got the last question which has come in is one, and I'm sorry, James Smith, I've actually stolen this as my signature question for everybody.
No, I'm dreading this one. Okay.
If they were to make you into a Muppet, what kind of Muppet would you be?
Right, if I was to be made into a Muppet, right, absolutely not anything like Miss Piggy. I'm putting that out there right now, okay? I was talking to my friend about this earlier on, and we decided that we thought the Fraggles were cooler because they were a little bit more hardy and a little bit more badass. But I'm just going to give the obvious one that I think my followers would expect. I would want a Lara Croft type Muppet.
Right.
Okay, I'm some ass-kicking, gun-welding, holster-wearing, badass Muppet. That is what I would want to be represented. If I was ever to be turned into one, which
Fair enough.
doesn't ever.
Yeah. You could be Red then from the Fraggles, couldn't she? She was a bit of a hard
Yeah,
ass. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's a bit of a hard ass, wasn't she? Yeah.
They were definitely more hard ass than Muppet. So.
They
really
were. Yes, with Jim Henson. I actually spoke to Mike Quinn earlier this week, and he met Jim Henson when he was 13, and then he basically stalked him until he was 16 and got a job with him, and he's worked with Muppets ever since for 36 years.
That's how it's done. It's all about the stalking.
It is. Yeah, I've been ribbing him ever since on that one, but he's been a Muppeteer for a long time, so. But yeah, no, that's a brilliant question, James. So yeah, I am stealing that, and every single person I speak to is now going to be asked that question.
I love it. I'm going to look forward to listening to everyone's response.
So on parting, Kate, sadly, is there anything that you'd like to say to people? One last thing.
I would just like to say thank you to everyone who does take the time to follow me on Twitter and other social media sites. Thank you always for just taking any kind of interest, because as I've tried to respond to some people before, because I do actually sometimes get some people asking me why I'm taking the time to respond to them, and what I want to say is that an actor without an audience is completely redundant. So I want to say thank you to everyone who does check out projects, no matter what they think of them. The fact that they've taken the time to watch them means a hell of a lot. And also like to say thanks to you, Chris, for kindly allowing me to come back for a second time to be interviewed by you on your show.
Oh no, thank you for wanting to come back. That's great. I haven't done any of my impressions. I was thinking I could have done my impression joke on the Muppets one then, but.
You missed the trick.
I did, yeah. I did it to Mike Quinn, and he was just. There's a bit of a. I had to cut the pause out because it was quite an embarrassing pause, as he was like, "Okay."
You could edit a little tumbleweed going across the screen.
Yeah, that would have been. That would have been perfect. I did my Kermit. It was like, piggy, piggy. We're needed on set, piggy.
That's amazing. That's fantastic.
That was my Kermit and Fozzie Bear. Waka waka waka. That's my Fozzie. Who else was there? There's Yoda as well, isn't there? I know you said you liked them, so you've had it now. So what else is? Oh, the Swedish Chef Muppet as well. Is hurdy-gurdy-gurdy, put the chicken in.
I think you should do one of those YouTube videos where you do the impersonations of all the different Muppets, and you could put like a little picture of them in the corner and do all the different voices.
That's actually that's a great idea.
On Twitter?
Yeah, that's a fantastic. That's a fantastic idea. Brilliant. All right, so cheers, Kate. I really appreciate your time on that. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Great. All right, so cheers, Kate. I really appreciate your time on that. So thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.